Now this is part 3 of the video, and we're going to start out talking about walls. There's two types of walls. There's intertwined, which I call it, that's one of these, and there's facade walls. And we're going to take a look at the difference between the two of them. Now when we build an intertwined wall, like you can see here, the stone goes into the wall and it goes in deep. You see how this one goes in deep here? And it goes one stone into the other stone, and the whole stone wall is put together in one big piece. And that's what we call intertwined. Now here's another example of a building that the stone is intertwined. And what's going on is, you can see the stone goes from stone to stone to stone, and the whole building is tied together. That's that side of it, and that's that side of it, and it leads all the way around into the arch. That's what you call intertwined stone. Now what we're looking at is what I call an interlocking or an intertwined wall. And as you're building the wall up, you have a face on this side and a face on this side, and what you're trying to do is lock these stones together so the stones don't move. This stone goes here under here, and then of course you fill them with cement. That's what we were looking at. That's one way to do a wall. Now we're going to look at another way that we do what we call a facade wall. Now the other type of wall we're looking at is a facade wall. That means the wall is already built right here. They usually put what they call wall ties and cement them in, and the stone will go on the bottom. It goes something like this, like this, like this, like this, and that wall tie to hold that stone against the wall. The reason I'm showing you with this stone is it's West Mountain stone. If you want to see where it comes from, you'd look on my video, stone quarries and stone yard visits. But you could use the stone either way. It's a good sandstone, and you could face it either way, or dress it, whatever you wanted to call it. And you get a dress on that stone. That'll go like that. Same thing with the next stone. You dress it up. Depending on, every mason does it different. There's no right and wrong way to do it. But this is what you call a facade wall. You're building a wall against another thing. And it's mostly for looks. This stone also, you can lay it this way. This is why this stone is so popular in our area, and you could face it like this. Like this. You can lay the stone like that. See? And the same thing, these wall ties that hold that stone against the wall. See how you get a different look? Every stonemason does it different. Usually if you go to someone's area and you look around, you could actually see a certain type of stone mason's work. There's no right and wrong way to do it. But that's what we call a facade wall. It fits up against something that's already done. Now the next two examples you're going to see, I'm going to show you, that was built by the WPA, was they would actually build the front of the wall first, and then they would take all the old junk like this, whatever they had, and pack it in and fill it with cement, and that would be your facade, and then they throw all the junk in the back. We're going to take a look at them two examples now. Now we're looking at a wall built in the 1930s, and this is what I call a wall that has a facade on it. And what this is, WPA, built in 1939, and you can see how they just threw all the junk behind it, and in front of the wall is the facade. And that's the way, that's what happens to facade walls after a period of time. Now here's another example of what I call a facade wall. You can see where they wrote WPA in the stone. You see how they just put the stones up and then they filled in behind it. And that's what you would call a facade wall. Facade walls are basically for looks. Here we are back at the Luzerne County Courthouse. What I want to show you here is they got 4-inch veneer. These pieces ain't full, and in the back of the veneer they filled it with rubble. We are showing a sort of facade, and that piece right there you're looking at over here fell out. What I want to show you is when you're doing any kind of limestone work, this is the piece, they shoved it in here. This is all rubble. It's all different kind of stones they put in here, and they put the outside to facade it. And like you've seen on the courthouse, another way they build the walls, they put the limestone around in pieces, and then they just fill in with any kind of junk imaginable, like this, and fill them with cement. That's another way they did it. Now, we ended this video showing you the two different types of stone walls. There's an exception to every rule. Sometimes a facade wall will be an intertwined wall. It all depends. We looked at West Mountain stone, which comes from the West Mountain of Scranton. One thing about these stones is, once they're quarried, and I've told you this before, they're very soft. They're easy to work with. After they sit out in the weather for a year or two, they get very, very hard. Next thing we're going to go into is the sandstone and the carving. You can see where this was carved. They got this off an old building. And we're going to study this and marble and limestone because it all works out the same. So this is end of part 3, and in part 4 we'll be getting into the carvings and chiselings.